Right, so, you know, sometimes I'm a little bit late to record.
Yeah.
I'm exceptionally late because I completely forgot. And I just sat down to eat my lunch, which I'm still gonna fucking do.
You remembered that Podquisition was gonna happen like 2 hours before it happened, so in many ways you were prepared early.
Yeah, in many ways, I'm actually here early.
Yeah, other than the physically showing up bit, you were here quite early.
I was early in spirit, and now I'm eating cream crackers with Gouda cheese, thank you very much.
Well, I hope that is a Gouda meal.
Oh! Mate, Gouda's fantastic. Like, while one of the most easily punnable cheeses, it is brilliant. I like different cheeses. Not full-on connoisseur, but, you know, different cheeses for different pleases. But Gouda doesn't have ideas above its station. That's what I like about it. And it might be the years of jokes have humbled it, but Gouda has a quiet confidence. It's just there. It tastes of cheese, sure, but it's not gonna shove that down your throat. It's gonna let you do that on your own terms.
Look, I really am not an enjoyer of cheese, but if you were gonna force me to eat some cheese, like at gunpoint, and you put like a spread of cheeses in front of me, I would probably gravitate to the Gouda. It is inoffensive.
It lets you get on with it.
Yeah, look, if I have to have a cheese, that one is... It's at least not anything else. It's just cheese. It's not cheese plus also you gotta handle the fact that, like, oh no, this one's designed to be stinky and that's its job. You're supposed to like that. It's not... Or this one, it's got the texture of melted butter, but that's apparently how it's meant to be. It's just some cheese.
I love a stinky cheese, though. Oh.
You like a stinker?
Yeah, a little blue cheese on just about anything. Oh, yeah.
As someone that can't stand cheese, growing up, my dad had what we called the cheese box in the fridge, which is where he kept all of the stinky cheese that he very much enjoyed. The problem is, despite being an airtight container, it wasn't keeping the smell trapped. Everything in our fridge always vaguely tasted of real stinky cheese.
Oh.
That's the sign of a good cheese. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel terrible that it was also the sign of a bad time for yourself.
It could not be quarantined.
Yeah, a good stinky cheese, even if you sealed it in concrete and dumped it in the ocean, it would still somehow get out.
Yes. One of the happiest days of my childhood was the day that my dad got installed a second fridge in the garage with all of his like woodworking tools, and the stinky cheese moved to the garage fridge.
I like the idea that he built a fridge for all of his woodworking tools, though.
Just stinky chairs from then on.
I think it was a fridge just for beer and stinky cheese.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of the stinky cheese, but then I used to have a very regular bad altercation with one very particular wheel of stinky cheese. When I lived in Mississippi, I'd go to the fresh market there because it was the only place to get bread that wasn't full of sugar. So I'd go there and get not the fanciest food, but it was fancy by the standards of everything else. And I always used to, because I'm a leaner, my back hurts, I'm also lazy. I'm a bit of a leaner. I like to put my hand on a thing and lean if I'm stood still. And there was always this wooden bollard, like a small wooden, not quite a table, not quite a post. It was sort of rounded around the edge and had a flat surface. And I used to always idly put my hand on it before remembering that that's the wheel of cheese that was inexplicably always there for years and just sat there as a big stinking wheel of cheese that sweat. And that was the worst part because I'd put my hand down and I'd be like, my hand is in something wet. It's the fucking cheese again. It just perpetually sweated. And then my hand would smell of like the inside of an arse for the rest of the day. And I tell you what, right? I was not down with that.
No, didn't.
Sorry
didn't
to
do
be
it for you?
controversial. Yeah, sorry to be controversial, but no, I don't like my hand on a sweaty cheese. Never have, never will. I know that'll probably cost me my political career, but I have to take a stand on that. And, you know, like all failed politicians, I will instead sell supplements.
You've already got the podcast.
Already got the podcast, right? Where I spout my ill-informed opinions. So, yeah, I've just got to get, you know, tester force or whatever to make your balls big and red, angrily red.
Can I just say, one of my favourite things about Podquisition is occasionally I've got ADHD and I didn't take my meds today. I'll zone out for like 2 seconds, and then I get to play the game of how did we get where we are? I zoned out for half a second. How did we get here?
I do that with my own sentences mid-sentence sometimes. I'll start a sentence, I'll be halfway through it, and I'm like, I've got no idea where I'm going or how I got here. I wonder what will happen at the end of this. And then I've lost another political campaign. So that's me. I am tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, the return to video creation within 3 minutes reminded me of everything I hated about video creation. My computer has not blue screened today or yesterday or any of the days except for the 10 days it did on Monday when I was doing the final edit through to post it. I'm sorry you had the video as late as you did for the subtitles, Laura. Thank you very much for doing them.
That's all right. I was already doing a long day. I decided it would be a good idea to make an hour-long video and deliver that late to my wife who does the editing and be like, this is about 4 times the usual video length. Enjoy.
Brilliant. I have heard that editors love that.
Yeah.
Z-Manzilla, big fan of it. Big thanks to Z-Manzilla as well for that. As I said in the video, and as I've been saying in Patreon blog updates, the video on Monday is not the start of me doing videos every single Monday again. I no longer believe that to be sustainable, and it was never sensible. And because of the relationship I have with YouTube and video creation in general, not feeling like I have to do them every single week allows me to approach it with a lot less resentment until I'm sat in front of the computer doing that last edit and everything that could go wrong will go wrong. But yes, new Jimquisition, or High Steph as it is now called.
High Definition, I am going to be
High
calling
Definition.
it, because that's a great name, and I think it is. Be less of a coward. That's what it is.
It is its name in spirit. It's what I want to call it. But like, me and Zilla wrote down every iteration of High Definition, and it just didn't quite track. We're changing how it was spelled because I think HI-Steph gets the wordplay across a lot more than high, as in, basically, every time I see the thumbnail, I don't want to be wishing I had some weed on me. So
I mean, that was my assumption when I saw the new logo. Is I did assume the gimmick was going to be I'm a little bit high when I make it.
It's been the gimmick of some of them, not officially. But some of the recordings I have been a little out of the tree. But yeah. The new video is called Execute of the Techno God. It is about how big business is a death cult, and it talks about it's basically me as a very anti-libertarian Andrew Ryan, as I talk about who the actual parasites are with regards to the game industry. And I think the several months doing full-time creative writing paid off very well. So, yeah, that's that. People were excited to see it back, and I said on Blue Sky, making videos doesn't make me happy at all, but making fans of the videos happy does. So I am, in that regard, happy to be back and doing those, and we will have the Game of the Year one and the Top 10 Shittiest out this month as well. So you've got that banked, and then we will take a more occasional approach to them. So yeah.
Well, you know what makes me happy? talk about video games here on Podquisition.
Oh,
That show
okay.
what we do, where we talk
Really?
about video games.
Oh.
It was that
sometimes.
level of specificity, the talking about them here. Because I thought for a second you
Yeah,
were going to say
yeah.
video games, and that is just hard to imagine.
No. Look,
Yeah.
talking about them specifically here, where I can be a little bit snarky, is an enjoyable midpoint. And I have two things to talk about this week, one of which I think is quite good from what I've seen so far, and one of which I'm going to be very snarky about. So I've got both ends of the spectrum today.
Excellent. I've got one to say nice things about that you've talked about before, Laura, and one to just shit all over.
Yeah. How many things you been playing, Conrad? How many
I-
things you got with you today?
I have one thing with cautiously optimistic things to say. I had a whole opening bit I was going to do, and I completely forgot about it.
Do you want to speedrun it now? Do you
No,
want to give us a speedrun, like, second start to the episode?
I think it'll be, like, maybe next week, because I found my boxes of games in the closet, following on from Steph's last week, finding that binder. And I have one that's just labeled loose cartridges. I don't know what's in it.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh.
Yes, let's definitely do that.
Yeah. So, but
I want to know what's in
between
there.
the three of us, we might remember that that's a thing by next
yeah,
week.
we might remember. All right. But yeah, I just have one
Yeah.
thing. Who wants to go first?
I'll jump in. Why not?
Yeah.
I started playing one that'll be out by the time that this episode goes up. I managed to get my hands on an early copy of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond.
The one that caused a bit of a stir with that comedy wacky
That one
character that's in it.
NPC. Yeah, don't worry. I'll get to him in a minute.
I'm curious about this.
So, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, it got announced originally in 2017, the first year of the Switch, and it's now coming out in the first year of the Switch 2, 8 years later.
Brilliant.
A game that, from what I am aware, I believe it was in development 5 years with Namco Bandai before getting scrapped and remade from scratch by Retro Studios. It's not had an easy development life, and it's out now. I've been playing it on the Switch too. I'm having a very good time with it. It is fundamentally very much another Metroid Prime game with everything that sort of encapsulates. It feels to me, structure and design-wise, more in tune with the first Metroid Prime than it does with the second or third, and I think that's generally a good thing. I've been enjoying the new gimmicks that have been applied to Samus's suit. She's got psychic powers now because some ghosts put a crystal in her head and she's psychic now. Don't overthink it. And the psychic powers are kind of fun. I'm enjoying a lot of their utility that frequently is reminding me of Zelda items. If you ever played Skyward Sword, and you remember the, little mechanical beetle that you could, fly around and control its trajectory to hit things you couldn't otherwise reach.
Yeah.
This has, a psychic energy blast you can shoot that controls very similarly, that you can use to, unlock a door from the other side by shooting a projectile, through a vent. It's got... A lot of the psychic powers feel very analogous to Zelda items you would get in Zelda dungeons. And I kind of like that, in that a lot of these distinct biomes you are visiting, I kept being reminded of, some of the older Zelda games while playing this Metroid, because it is Metroid Prime with, a little bit more of a lean towards, you go to an area, you get a new power-up that feels a bit like it would be a Zelda key item, you probably use that to navigate the dungeon, initial core area that you have visited. You fight a boss that's probably going to use that unique ability you picked up in some way. In many ways, when you first visit an area, it feels kind of linear in that going through a Zelda dungeon style. But you see all these little things around you where it's I can't interact with any of these side paths yet. And it's when you complete a couple of other dungeons and unlock a couple of other abilities that it's oh, I can go back to that linear dungeon and start branching off it like a Metroidvania.
Okay.
And I kind of like this structure for it. I think it's really interesting.
It is an interesting way to package it. Yeah, I like the sound of it.
What it has done for me is it's gotten over some of the initially overwhelming aspects of Metroidvania design sometimes, where I'm like, I've got to be remembering a billion things right now. By having a lot of these like side paths and new routes so clearly inaccessible the first time you visit an area, it's like, get to terms with an area, have like a tightly designed series of puzzles that is like, we know you have this tool, really get to grips with this tool in a slightly more, like, not fully linear, but a slightly more linear, tightly designed way. When you get new tools, go back to those dungeons, they're gonna start to sprawl more and more and more the more tools you have, and you're gonna realize quite how interconnected it all was, without having to feel like you need to be thinking about all of that instantly. And that's been really satisfying. I am 2.5... I've got 2.5 of the 5 MacGuffins right now, so I'm doing pretty good. I'm a good chunk of the way in. So I feel equipped to talk about the Marvel movie nerdy quippy character, whose name I've already forgotten. There were some previews maybe a month or so ago for this game that talked about this one very annoying character who was very like those trailers for Forspoken being like, a talking cuff? What happens now? Whoa!
Yeah, it was a combination of that and what I saw clips of, which was him just doing that thing I hate in games. Would not shut up, commented on everything, pestered you about obvious things constantly.
Yeah. So, here's the thing about him. You encounter him pretty early in the game, and I don't think that's going to help people's impressions. He's around for maybe 15 minutes. You pick him up, you help him find like a base you're going to drop him off at, and then he's gone from the game. You will occasionally meet other NPCs who are far less infuriating, and they'll be around with you for like 10 minutes, and then they also get dropped off to that one base.
Yeah, there's like some special unit of soldiers or something, right?
Yeah, so if you go back to this one location you're dropping the NPCs off, you can choose to talk to them. And if you don't choose to talk to them, they largely just shut the fuck up. Do I think it was a mistake to put this man in the game? Yes. Do I think he's a deal breaker? Fuck no. He is annoying for like 15 minutes and then he buggers off. I saw a lot of people, I think understandably, panicking that this was going to be a Metroid game where constantly there were little quips happening and you never got to feel like alone and isolated and like it's you against the world. No, that's still like 99% of the game is you alone, no talking, just you against the planet. He is annoying, though.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue, and you sort of touched on it as well, is the placement, is having him right at the start, because, like, I'm not a big Metroid fan, but there are elements of the series I like, and what I like about Metroid Prime, and it's been brought up by others, is the sense of isolation. You are exploring this uncharted place and it's just, like you said, you against the planet. And while I don't have an issue with NPCs, starting off with that, like, your introduction to this place does seem ill-advised.
Once you really get past the introduction, it's the first location you go to. Right. And I think that NPC specifically being the first one you meet, and him being, like, in the first hour and a half of the game, and him being really the only one that, like, sticks around with you for a minute, I think sets an expectation of, oh god, is this going to be every area of the game's going to have one of these?
Yeah.
And that fear is very much overblown, but when he started walking with me, because here's the other problem, and here's the thing that a lot of the previews didn't talk about, that 15 minutes or so you have him with you in that first area is an escort mission.
Oh,
He can take damage.
na 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 na. Love it.
I'll say, thankfully, the thing that relieved me was realizing he can get knocked out and it doesn't cause any fucking problems. You use your psychic powers to get him back up after the fight and then he's fine. I really thought it was going to be a fail state when I saw him taking damage. I was like, oh god, fuck no. I think the game would be better without him.
Yeah.
But I also think don't stress about his inclusion. There is less plot, both in terms of like duration of conversations and frequency of conversations, than either Metroid Prime 3 or Other M. It's not as bad as either of those.
Yeah.
And I generally really like what they're doing with the, here is a more linear dungeon environment the first time you explore a place, and then when you come back, shit, this is a lot more Metroidvania-ian area than I realised at the time.
It's a
I
very
think that's
cool
a really
idea.
nice way to tweak that formula in a way that feels new, but still feels very faithful to what that design is all about.
Yeah. The basic narrative conceit I like as well, from what I've heard. The preserving a civilization before it's lost.
Yeah.
I love that as a concept. That's always been something that I find very interesting, both in stories and in real life, is sort of preserving a culture that will inevitably get less and less evident.
Yeah. I haven't really talked about this. There's an open world that you can traverse on a motorbike, and like there's collectibles and stuff to find hidden around it, and little like...
I've seen the motorbike as an amiibo, and I was shocked that they're still making amiibo.
They're still making amiibos, yeah.
I've got a Kirby Air Riders amiibo.
That motorbike one looks really cool. Like, I'm
does
very
look cool.
tempted by that one specifically as a cool figurine.
Yeah, it did catch my eye, because I picked a couple up, just because a few games I've been playing have functionality, and I wanted that Kirby one. Yeah, that did catch my eye, and I'm like, Steph, you don't need it. You're not a big Metroid fan, you don't need that.
The open world is like, it's got a couple of little like equivalents to Zelda shrines dotted around it and stuff, but a big part of what you're doing in the open world is collecting resources to basically try and help restore like a big tree that all of this civilization has. When they die, they pour their memories into the tree, and you're trying to help this tree blossom a new fruit that will basically allow you to carry this entire species' memories with you. And like, I like that as a concept, the idea of trying to create a fruit that will basically be like, you might all be dying and gone, but like, your memories will live on with someone, and that's kind of cool. I like that. I'm having a great time with it so far. It's a very solid game that I'm very much enjoying, and I've not been put off of it by Smarmy McNerdman.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a look. Like I say, not a massive Metroid fan just of the entire series, just because I don't have much history with it, but always liked the idea of those games, and I did enjoy the first Metroid Prime. So I'm checking it out.
Also, it runs at 120 FPS in handheld mode and looks fucking gorgeous. It looks very nice.
Well, there we are.
What about you, Steph? What you been playing this week?
Still loads of Kirby Air Riders. That is still really good. Yeah, I've just been so taken with that one. Yes, just a lovely little time. The other thing that I've been playing for review, now that I got the Kirby one out the way, I'm a lot less pleased with. It's called Marvel Cosmic Invasion. That's it, Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
It's the beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Yeah! Given who's involved, you'd expect it to be made by people who know how to make a beat 'em up.
You'd hope so. It looks like a beat 'em up, yeah?
It barely plays like one. Well, no. It plays like one made by clowns. Almost every enemy has a gun. And you don't. I had a similar issue with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. When you've got superheroes in a game, you ought to make them feel super. And when regular AIM guys, the Goombas of the Marvel world, can pot-shot you to the point where She-Hulk looks like a chump, it really takes you out of it. I think anyone would agree one of the most annoying enemy types in the brawler genre is some little fucker with a gun.
It's the thing I hate most about the end game of Yakuza 0 is that they start giving everyone a gun and putting them at the end of a corridor so I can't run over and punch them because they're too far away for my fists.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that in brawler shit.
In this one, Enemies constantly come in from the left and right and just shoot at you. That's the most annoying part of the game. The most disappointing part of the game is everything to do with the playable characters. You've got a sizable roster, and their move pools are extremely limited. One thing that you would expect in most brawlers, because they've been a big part of the genre from inception, is a grab attack. You want to be able to throw enemies, grab them, maybe punch them a few times, like toss them into other enemies. That's not an ability. Well, it's not an attack in the game at all, unless you are one of the heroes that can do it as their special move. So, like, She-Hulk can do it, Venom can do it, a couple of the others can do it, but if you're one of the other characters, you just don't have a grab attack, which feels a bit amateur hour. Depending on the hero you choose, you can either block/parry or dodge. No one gets both. That also is a thing to consider. It's shit. It's just a shit game. The characters feel so fucking restricted in what they can do. You've got a very brief normal combo, you've got a special attack, one of those defensive moves, and then a focus ability, basically your ultimate attack. That's the biggest disappointment of them all, is the ultimate attack. Every single one of them fucking sucks. Limited range, awkward attack arcs and animations, they miss at least half the time. Spider-Man's in particular, he just spins about and shoots a couple of tiny web balls with small hitboxes in this strange, arc that is neither aimed towards enemies on the ground or enemies in the air, so often it just shoots between them. Absolutely dreadful. You can choose 2 characters and tag them in and out, and there are these tag attacks where you just spend a bit of focus, and then the character that you're not actively playing will just do a couple of seconds of their existing moveset. Nothing really changes, aside from some voice clips to reflect the different character combinations. The other thing is, if you really are somehow desperate to play this game, do it now, because it's not been balanced for solo play whatsoever. And my estimate is in about 3 days from now, the lobbies are going to be completely fucking empty. If they're not already a day after launch. I finished this game in maybe an hour. The levels are less than 10 minutes each. There's not very many of them. Because they are so dull, and the characters, you can see, it's a sizable roster, but a lot of their moves feel functionally the same. So there's not a lot of difference between them, even if they've got some different visuals. So you can see everything a character does in a couple of seconds. There's no real need to replay a level, because even though they've got a leveling system like Shredder's Revenge, the tiny stat boosts are not exciting, not interesting, not worth it. It costs $30. It costs $30. You can finish it in about an hour, and even then, it outstays its welcome. There's not even enough going for it to keep it interesting in that brief window of time it has something to show you. And it doesn't even look good.
I almost checked this out, and the price was what put me off, because I was like, I'm gonna need someone to tell me this game is amazing for me to put that price on a side-scrolling beat-em-up. That's a high asking price for the genre.
Everyone on my Discord who's played it has said, one of them got a refund on it. No one I've spoken to who's played it likes it. It is utterly disappointing, and the price is obscene for what you get. I'm not one to often harp on price as a factor when it comes to quality, because I don't believe that long automatically means good, but sometimes the price to gameplay ratio is so wide, so unforgivably wide. And the biggest problem with this isn't even the length so much as the complete lack of incentive to play it again. And I'm not even talking about branching paths, which obviously there aren't, or anything else that might like anything material that might bring you back, it's just not fun enough to want to play a level again. As soon as I was done, I'm like, I have no desire to ever pick this up again, except for work purposes. It screams cash in. Absolutely. Like I say, it doesn't even look good. Like, there are many retro evocative games, and the stiff animations on these, and the not very detailed character models, and the flat environments, it doesn't look ugly, per se, but it doesn't look like much of anything at all. And that's the biggest sin this game commits, is it's not much of anything. And it costs pathetic amounts.
It's such a shame. Eventually everyone has a bad game, like that's inevitable. And Tribute's run is kind of remarkable when you look at like everything they've put out over the years, but that's really a bummer.
Yeah. It's honestly stunning, some of the schoolchild mistakes in the design. Like, it genuinely feels at times like this is someone's first brawler, and they didn't quite understand the basics of it.
Well, I look forward to, 3 years from now when this is, £2 in a Steam sale, picking it up and probably having a decent time.
Well, play it locally with folks, because like I say, it is not balanced.
For a couple of quid a few years from now, if I play it in co-op with Jane, I'll probably have an alright time.
Yeah, the tanky bosses in particular are not fucking fun on your own. So yeah, bad time.
What about you, Conrad? What have you been playing this week?
I have been playing Cleared Hot. This is, do you remember back in the 90s, on Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, they had Desert Strike and Urban Strike and Jungle Strike.
Mm-hmm. Those top-down helicopter-y shooty things.
Those are the ones. And this is a spiritual successor to that vibe.
I mean, I've been saying the industry needs more strikes, so this is really good to hear.
This is out in early access now, and they sent me a code for it. And I was a big fan of Desert Strike. I didn't really get on with any of the ones after that. I think I played a bit of Jungle Strike and didn't, wind up sticking with it. But I played a ton of Desert Strike as a kid. And this, it more or less has that feel. You, again, are top down. You're piloting a helicopter. There's a little introductory mission where you get to fly a badass military helicopter until things go wrong in the setup for the plot, which plants you in Texas as a guy who used to be a military pilot and now is in debt and arranging a deal with the guy who runs the junkyard for a crappy new helicopter. And then you do little missions to help the people of this East Texas town who seem to be having a problem with a militia group. And I have some questions. I truly do have some questions. This guy pops up. Okay, so this guy's name is Desert Mike. And the setup for this mission is that there's the militia group. They're called the Western Republic, right? And he says, the Western Republic's base is deep in what they call Freedom Canyon. Of course, it's only, quote, free because they stole that land and everything on it. And I have some questions for Desert Mike. Because Desert Mike, you do later find out he did work for a 3-letter agency. And so, I mean, what does he think happened here in the first place? Like, is this a subtle commentary or is it presented without irony? I am not sure what's being said with that line. But they hate tech billionaires, so there's a little anti-tech billionaire storyline in the first little campaign, which is all that's present in the early access. 12 missions, you'll do destroy stuff, you'll do retrieve items, you've got the little skyhook makes its return. You could, in the original games, fly over boxes and pick them up, and they, give you health or more armament, or you might need to pick up certain people, and you could pick up just enemies and fling them around, and all of that's present here, and there are physics, and it's fun. You've got, I don't know, like more than a dozen helicopters you can buy with different levels of armament and varying statistics on speed, acceleration, the number of passengers you can carry in them, light machine guns, heavy machine guns, small missiles, heavy missiles. There's a range, and it's all very navigable. It all feels natural. Expanding the number of buttons really only makes things easier to manipulate, so you can switch what your secondary weapon is with the directional pad, fire those off with your left trigger. You've got your minigun on your right trigger, up and down on the shoulder buttons. It's a very simple, very navigable game. It needs, in this early access period, some work on accessibility. Its UI is going to need some adjustment. It uses a lot of red-green, and that's just not going to work for some people, so they should probably do something about that. But on the whole, at a start, they are doing a good one of these kinds of games. It's a good follow-on from what had been established before in Desert Strike. I'm having fun with it. It's got some fun characters, some decent, little mission setup writing and voice performances. The music is appropriate, just, like hair rock, that kind of stuff. Feels good. Yeah, I like it. I'm having fun with it, and I'm looking forward to more chapters being released out of this early access that they're doing. It's good.
Neat.
Yep.
I experienced a thing this week that I did not have great experiences with. This year I keep talking about the fact I've been enjoying Bridge Command, a thing where I go to London and it's sort of a video game, sort of a live action-y thing in London. Sci-fi, live interactive theatre, video gamey things are a thing I quite enjoy. I got invited to one of the preview days for an event that is also a sci-fi live action video game experience in London called Lander 23. And it sure did make me appreciate Bridge Command even more. So, the pitch for Lander 23 was very vague. It's by a company called Punch Drunk that own quite a large building in East London. And they were like, hey, you're gonna crash land on an alien planet and have to avoid detection in the dark and collect energy. And that's really all the pitch I had for this thing. It was going to be 90 minutes. I didn't really know what to expect. First of all, calling it 90 minutes long is generous. There's maybe 45 minutes of gameplay and 45 minutes of sitting around waiting for it to be time to start and getting tutorialized. Maybe 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay if you're generous. But the idea is it's meant to be experienced. I'll try and pitch it as it ideally would work. 2 pairs of 2 people are grouped together. You've got 4 people, and you're gonna crash land on an alien planet that looks a lot like post-apocalyptic Earth. It's not particularly alien-y. And humanity needs an invisible energy source called luminance. It's sort of like pollen. If you walk through it, it'll, connect to your body, and that'll help bring it back to save Earth or whatever. But there's guards, maybe they're aliens, and they're shining torches, and you'll lose a life if they hit you with the torch. So, because this stuff is invisible, there'll be a pair of you out there in this post-apocalyptic Earth-looking building in the dark trying to find the invisible energy. And you've got a radio headset on, and there's 2 other players who can see where you are on a map, and they can see where the invisible energy is, and they've got to guide you to it. So, in theory, this is you take turns either being the person on the headset trying to guide the players, or being the players dodging the torches and trying to get to the invisible energy or whatever. It was fundamentally a broken experience. I did not experience this at its quote-unquote peak. For an experience like this to work, one of the biggest factors is you need to be able to hear the person in the headset who's giving you directions of where to go.
That sounds like it'd help.
Right? Because the energy you're collecting is invisible, right? These radios did not work. Fundamentally, most of my time was spent trying to stand in a spot where I could get a clear enough connection to actually hear directions of where to go. There was a survey afterwards that was like, how many times did you experience a drop out of the radio for more than 5 seconds? And 10 was like the most you could click. There was no like more than 10 option. I think I'd be lucky if there was 10 times where I had 5 seconds of solid connection. And, like, you can see why that would be a problem. My stint of being, like, the player running around collecting the invisible energy was 15 minutes. When most of that I can't hear the person on the radio, I can't just get on with doing the gameplay myself, because it's fucking invisible energy. Second problem, they've got all these cool rooms and things that are all themed to go explore, and there's, like, hidden things to find, like, oh, there might be a tape recorder with some plot that you can go find, or, like, a golden ticket that does something. But the problem is, let's say, I did find one of these tape recorders. I can give a good example of the design problem here. I was hiding from torches, I hid under some stairs, and I found a tape recorder, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna sit here for, like, 2 minutes and listen to the plot on this tape recorder so I can find out what the fucking plot of this is. And in my ear, I just about get signal to my radio operator, who's going, no, the invisible energy is east, you've got to go east, why have you stopped, why aren't you moving? I'm like, well, because there's plot here. But the problem is, for them, if I'm not moving toward the invisible energy, they've got no plot to do. So for me to stop and take a second to listen to the audio log tape that I found, meant that for 2 minutes out of that 15, that man wasn't going to have any gameplay to do. Because he can't hear the tape I'm listening to. So, like, fundamentally, if I see what I think is a cool thing to go investigate, I can't go investigate it, because if the radio's working, the person on the radio's just going to tell me, no, it's not that direction, why are you going the wrong way? Because all they can see on the map is where the invisible energy is. Their entire gameplay is get me to that dot. It does not make sense for me to have an explore and look at interesting things, because there's someone else whose gameplay is walk in a straight line to the dot I can see. Also, just fundamentally, there were some baffling design choices. Anytime I could hear myself in the headset, my own voice was playing on a 1 second delay into my ears. There's nothing that jams my ability to speak like hearing my own voice on a delay. Apparently this is intentional. This is, the radiation on the planet, whatever. Functionally, all it did was make it so I couldn't fucking think while I was talking. That is not fun gameplay.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I had to point out to them some pretty fundamental fucking accessibility problems, such as, there is a red whistle that you're told, hey, if there's an emergency, blow the red whistle, except don't blow the red whistle if you can help it, because if you blow the red whistle, everyone will have to stop playing, and the whole game will have to stop for everyone. Like, trying to discourage you from doing the there's an emergency signal is a weird way to go.
Wow.
But also, I realized, like, halfway through, if I needed it, I don't know where this fucking red whistle that supposedly exists is. Where is it? It was tucked behind my back at the bottom of the radio pack where I could not reach it and did not know it was there. If I had an emergency, I could not reach it myself, and I would... In the kind of emergency where I'd need to stop the entire experience for everyone, I'd have had to take off my, like, strapped-on vest to get to it if I'd even known it was there, which I probably couldn't do in an emergency. So there were some accessibility problems, some fundamental design problems that I just... This preview day was like 3 days before, like, the public is gonna start attending, and it's like 70 quid a person, this experience, and I'm like, tech problems aside, like, if they can iron out the tech problems with the radio, fundamentally, I don't think it is a particularly engaging experience, because at its best, it is go find the invisible thing you can't see by going exactly where you're told to by a person on a radio, and yes, there's secret extra bits of plot to find, but you're discouraged from doing that. It's not set up in a way where you have any agency on either half of the experience to be creative about where you go or what. Oh, I saw an interesting thing, maybe I'll go have a look at that. No, that's not the gameplay. I would love to hear that they turn this around and get it into a good experience, but right now what I experienced was fundamentally... They had some great set design, they had some good atmosphere setting, but it felt like they were putting the cart before the horse, because they didn't really have a fundamentally engaging gameplay loop. despite having clearly spent a lot of money on set design.
That sounds intensely disappointing.
Yeah, I did not pay £70 a ticket to go, and I felt like it was, I'm glad I went because I had a good time with someone I know and whose company I enjoy. I had a good time despite the event, not because of it. It is a real shame. It did really make me, like, reappreciate how much Bridge Command manages with the same time frame for a cheaper price. I'm like, okay. But for something being pitched very similarly, this, I can't recommend it. I walked away going, I really, even if it hadn't been a technical mess, I struggle to see the vision right now of what they think justifies the money on it.
That's a shame.
Yeah. What about you, Steph? You played anything else this week?
Yeah. I am currently 2 episodes into Dispatch. Finally got that going.
How are you finding it?
I really like it.
It's
really
real good, right?
It's very well written. The characters are great. The sonar is, yeah, absolutely.
Sonar is great. Yeah.
Absolutely spot on.
I'm assuming Sonar survived the culling on your team.
Currently still going, yeah.
Still going, yeah.
Like I say, I've only done the first 2 eps. In fact, I will see about doing episode 3 today, which I'm looking forward to. Voice acting, of course, is top notch. Aaron Paul is really good in the lead.
So good.
I like the gameplay. Because I didn't know a massive deal about it, I was a bit surprised at how little there was of the dispatching. At least so far, it's like 1 an episode. I don't necessarily hate that.
It increases a little in some of the later episodes. Like, some of the episodes have 2 dispatching sections. I definitely could go for a standalone game of the dispatching stuff, because it's engaging enough. I would happily have more of it.
Yeah, it's ready built for that. I could see that as a mobile game if they didn't charge out the wazoo for bits. Like, if it wasn't microtransactioned, or like a small digital game, like a companion.
If the dispatching element was available on Switch, I would play the hell out of lots and lots of that gameplay loop.
Yeah. And like I say, I'm not massively disappointed. I do like it. I like the dispatching. But yeah, I was surprised at just how quickly I warmed to the characters. They've done a good job of really making them likable. Like, the blonde blazer is just so intensely likable, almost off the bat. And then all the other characters as well are really good. Like, and then the asshole ones, like in Visibitch, are entertainingly annoying.
I was surprised at how quickly I warmed to some of the characters that I didn't think I would warm to, such as the constantly wet lad.
Yeah.
Over time, he grew on me a lot. Like, I think they do a lot to give some depth and texture to some initially one-note characters that I think is pretty good.
One thing that I am distracted by is how Flambe looks exactly like Scott Hall. He looks exactly like Razor Ramon, the WWF wrestler. I keep expecting him to, like, flick a toothpick in someone's eye and call them Chico. Stunning. Just how so similar, right down to the chest hair. But yeah, I don't have a massive amount to say just because I have...
Yeah.
I feel like I'm only just getting into the real meat of it. But yeah, the writing is really good. They did really well at nailing the naturalistic dialogue, which at times, in other media, and especially in games and animation, nailing naturalistic dialogue can be especially tricky, and it can come off as even more unrealistic sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because, depending on the medium, the more real something is, ironically, the less believable it can be. But they did really well. They sound natural. Dialogue is not... Like, it gets slang and contemporary phrasing done in a way that doesn't come across as fellow children or too memey. And I haven't, burst out laughing at all, but I've smiled through a fair bit of it and definitely found it funny.
And compared to something like the older Telltale games, I think that the dispatching gameplay is a more consistently engaging gameplay portion than when the Telltale games used to do, okay, here's an arena, walk around and talk to the 3 or 4 people. It feels like it breaks from watching an interactive narrative are more justified and engaging, which I like as a direction.
Well, I've seen it described as like the closest a game has come to being an interactive TV show, and I absolutely feel that. Like this, in many ways, this is a TV show, just one that you have some influence over. I think that's good. Like, I don't say that as an insult. I think, yeah, they nailed it. It isn't quite a visual novel, but it's kind of in that strand. And I think it's a very good example of one. It's certainly, like, no matter what you want to classify it as, it is entertaining. And that is ultimately what counts for something like this. I have been very entertained and I am invested in it. So, yeah, quality stuff.
Yeah. Is that everything we have played this week?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Yeah. We got time for a little bit of news before we wrap
I
up?
would love to.
I reckon.
I've got to throw this one on the pile. This had happened last week and we didn't get around to talking about it. I need to share with you the most recent example of video game executive says a thing that I think they're going to very much regret having said.
Ho ho.
And this time we're talking about Roblox's CEO, David Baszucki, who was on a podcast hosted by the New York Times, and he was asked, as I think is a sensible thing for him to be asked, what his thoughts were on, quote, the problem of predators on Roblox. And I think that's a very easy question to give a softball answer to. You just say, oh, we take the problem very seriously, we're working on it, we're doing new child safety measures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's what he said. Quote, we think of it not necessarily just as a problem, but an opportunity as well. He elaborates. He's like, how do we allow young people to build and communicate and hang out together or whatever? He does not go on and elaborate all the things they're doing to protect children. He's like, well, there's predators on Roblox, but also children can talk to people on Roblox, and that's good, probably.
I mean, this is the mindset of these, and this is like business school 101 shit. Is that, philosophically, you need to view all of your challenges not just through the lens of things that are holding you, down, but opportunities to improve your business. And it's there so that you don't stop and think about some of the horrible shit you're doing, throughout the course of your executive career. But
I mean, it's a rampant pathological lack of morality,
right,
will have you looking at a proliferation of perverts and thinking, yeah, there's something we could do here. We can work with this. We can say Roblox has got something for everyone. We've got games for the kids. We've got kids for the perverts. We've got everything.
How can we benefit from this situation?
Here's the thing. He did it 2 more times during the episode. I'm going to read you 2 more quotes of him. He was asked about, like, hey, do you find it concerning that predators have found little difficulty bypassing your security measures? To which he responded, one of the primary things we're doing is trying to keep people on our platform. Which is a fucking wild response to, are you concerned that predators are finding it easy to be on your platform?
Looking on the bright side, they want to use our platform.
He was then later asked outright, so you don't think you have a problem with predators on the platform? To which he responded, I think we're doing an incredible job at innovating relative to the number of people on our platform and the hours in really leading into the future of how this is going to work.
Hell, they don't want the perverts gone. They don't want them gone. They just want to monetize that. They want to monetize paedophilia. Epstein got there first, so they're stealing business ideas for one thing.
He then goes on to argue for quite a while about the benefits of open-ended text communication on Roblox.
Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of kids who find their peeps on Roblox. There's a lot of kids when they're lonely or isolated, actually.
Did he actually say peeps, or was the transcription
peeps
spelling
is
it wrong?
The word he used. Peeps is the word he used. He goes on to, go, children who are depressed make friends on Roblox, but the sentence, there's a lot of kids when they're lonely or isolated, actually, as a benefit to having open text communication with fucking anyone. Sir, do you not realise that's the problem? There are children who are lonely and isolated, and there are predators on the platform. That's the problem. Those two should not be together.
Those are the people the predators are looking for. They're the ones.
Yeah.
And you can find the best ones only at Roblox. They're gonna start directly advertising to perverts.
It really feels like it, doesn't it?
Come and get them. Mate.
Hey, here's another one. Tim Sweeney from Epic Games. He's really pissed off that you have to label games with AI as having AI in them on Steam.
Like cigarettes and tar.
Yeah. He went on a whole little crusade this week, being like, Steam and digital marketplaces need to drop the made with AI label. It doesn't matter anymore. Blah blah blah. Why stop at AI use? Should we have to have mandatory disclosures for what shampoo brand the developer uses? Customers deserve to know, lol.
Yes.
Actually, he really doesn't want to have to...
Yes, I think we should need to know all of the habits of all of the executives who run these companies. All of them. The transparency.
I said this to Jane genuinely yesterday. I was like, well, if the company mandated all of their workers use one shampoo brand, and that shampoo brand was like, I don't know, Hitler's brand shampoo, then yes, I would want a disclaimer that everyone at the company uses Hitler brand shampoo. Like, sometimes a company's doing something bad and I would like it disclosed. So yeah, if the shampoo was like evil Hitler's shampoo, I would want to know. The same way I want to know when you're putting AI in shit.
If it was a shampoo that inherently made its user a treacherous backstabbing cunt that is annihilating not just their own industry and the people in it, but the world at large, I would like that as a disclaimer, Mr. Sweeney. Yes, please and thank you. You absolute fucking tool. You fucking twat. And I've decided I'm not polishing my language when it comes to, like, people evangelizing AI. You are a cunt. You are a disgusting person, and you can go get fucked.
And there, there are no, by all means. But the his comments about how AI is going to be so ubiquitous as part of the development process that it's pointless to do this. And I don't think he's entirely wrong in terms of like the AAA space. I do think some AI is going to exist in some form in the creative process being done at these studios. And that is, yes, you're right. That's now what that is, how it impacts the work. Those things do matter. And telling us how AI is used matters because it affects the end product.
And it doesn't, honestly, the disclaimers don't do enough to tell us. Like, I want to know more. I want to know exactly how it's used. I want to know every instance of its use because, this is important. And these people who are like, it doesn't matter, like, they are just trying, they are not telling the truth of the situation. They are trying to speak the situation they want into existence. They are working overtime to convince us AI can't be fought, can't be challenged, it is here to stay, it is ubiquitous. It is not. Investors don't want it even. Like, the reports just keep coming in. The only people who truly want this are CEOs. The executive thralls underneath them, sure, they will enact whatever they're told, but only the ones at the very top truly want this because of their dream, their fucking paradise of products made for free and sold to people who don't have money.
One last thing, and I just think this is a silly place for us to end. Do you remember back at E3 2017 when Beyond Good and Evil 2 got a trailer and then vanished off the face of the earth for the following 8.5 years?
Yeah,
So that game is apparently still in development.
I'm sure it is.
Well, they're hiring. A job listing went up this week explicitly for a technical sound designer to work on the game, with a new description of it. So that game's apparently not been dumped yet.
I just don't get where all of these rumors about Ubisoft not doing so hot are coming from. Like, clearly, these are the actions of a business that is on firm, confident ground moving forward, that they're continuing to invest in this nearly 20-year boondoggle. Which I think I have used that word to describe this game before, boondoggle, because that's
I think
what
it's
it
the
is.
right word to use, yeah. I'll read the description that's here, but it sure does sound like they're still going in the procedurally generated AI. It's not a single-player game, it's a multiplayer. It still sounds like it's too big of a thing to actually ever release. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is an action-adventure open-world game set in a captivating space opera universe and the direct prequel to the 2003 cult classic. Based on breakthrough technology driven by proprietary Voyager engine, Beyond Good and Evil 2 aims to offer a seamless experience of exploration and spacey piracy across the solar system full of exotic locations, colourful characters and mysteries to uncover, solo or with friends, across an entire realistic universe. So if you're ready for an adventure like no other, come join forces with us to build System 3.
Uh-huh.
It fucking has no identity. It's so much just fucking buzzwords. It's a prequel to the old one, but it's a seamless, it's open world, it's a whole universe,
Hey,
it's
come
single
on.
player, it's multiplayer.
They promise spacey piracy, which is the only ethical way you can watch House of Cards now.
So yeah, that game refuses to die, and I genuinely every time I think they've had a clean excuse to just drop that game, they've not taken it. When Michel Ancel left Ubisoft to go work on like an animal sanctuary, completely, definitely unrelated to the fact he was about to be investigated for misappropriate actions at the company. I really thought him leaving, because it was his pet project, I really thought that would be them going, it's our chance to finally fucking bin it. And 3-4 years later, they still haven't binned it. I'm like, oh god.
Do you think the higher-ups know? Do you think it's like Office Space, where the guy was somehow like being paid by the company but had been fired for years? Like, it's been cancelled, but no one higher up at Ubisoft knows it. And he's just letting them continue to work on it in a basement somewhere. What a weird project.
I think it must be something like, on a spreadsheet somewhere, its name got truncated to, like, Beyond 2. And they're looking at it going, oh, I didn't know we got the Beyond 2 Souls rights off of Quantic Dream. That's pretty cool, I guess we're working on that. Like, someone has crossed some wires somewhere and thinks they're funding a very different project.
Unbelievable. That company's a fucking mess. And, you know, it's always sad because it will affect the people who've done the actual work, which is always a shame. But in terms of the damage being done to Ubisoft as a company and as a brand, they truly did it to themselves. The stuff we're seeing, the desperation and the confusion and the freefall, it's everything I said was coming in videos, and we've been talking about coming on this podcast. It's all happening. Like, it's literally all coming true now. The chickens are home to roost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But there we go. That's a place we can leave it that isn't talking about industry nonsense.
Good for us.
Yeah. Well, the chickens may be roosting in Ubisoft's hen house, but Laura, you're laying golden eggs every single week with the stuff you put out. Can you tell us about that, please?
Sure. You can find the stuff I'm doing at Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. Patreon's the one that pays the bills. As little as $1 a month over there means I can keep doing all the stuff I am doing. It's probably not going to go up this week, it'll probably be next week, but I have a nearly an hour-long episode of Accessibility going up this month that is going to be the big... Do you want to know, like, everything that happened in video game accessibility in 2025 and, like, get caught up on a year's worth of accessibility conversations? we're gonna wedge all of that into an hour. I'm real happy with how that video is coming together. That'll be up either this week or maybe next week. Check out Dice Funk. I continue to be a middle sibling dragon that is making absolutely fucking terrible life choices, and it's been a fun roller coaster. Come join us for that. Laura K. Buzz, you'll find all the stuff I'm up to. What about you, Conrad? Where are you out on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman. I'm on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. You can hear me on Let's Talk About Snacks. It's a podcast about snacks, wherever you get podcasts. Also, Boston's Favorite Son had another episode come out in the not too recent past. It's a good one. You can go get that. And you can buy anti-capitalist propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise at mercenarycreative.com. And everything I do online gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon? Stephanie Sterling.
That's correct. You can...
You're still finishing your lunch.
I've been staring at it for the past hour.
You could have been eating it while we were talking about our things.
I know, but it felt rude. So I thought I'd do
I
it
ate
now.
while you were talking.
Road. Patreon.com/Jimquisition, which supports this show. Reviews on the Jimquisition.com and the web series, the latest episode of which came out, Execucultists of the Techno God. Very good video. Well worth a watch, I think. Other than that, you can check out the games that I've written for Vampire Survivors, Date Everything, Quantum Witch. We've got Vampire Survivors: The Grimoire, a book coming out next year.
I'm gonna butt in here real quick. Recently named one of the best games of 2025 by NPR. Date Everything.
Ooh.
Yeah. Absolutely, one of the best games. My own work hailed as one of the best representations of neurodivergence in media. I've seen that. Like, the stuff I wrote for Barry Styles, had a little, not massively blown up on TikTok, but a nice explosion, like a nice little boom, which was really good. I'm immensely proud of that project and my involvement in it. Yeah, and it's been massively successful. Like, it's just been great. I've got some projects I'm working on that are unannounced currently. Some really exciting stuff. Because, yeah, that's just a full-time gig now, and that's really cool. So, yeah, next year, plenty more stuff from me, literary-wise, and plenty more videos and all of that stuff. So thank you all so much for your support. And we will, I'll be back next... Sorry, I forgot how to do a podcast suddenly. I'm still looking at them crackers. I've got, a little bit left. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.